as critical as Ted has been of Ultimate Warrior through the years, still in the Self-Destruction DVD, he said that Warrior respected Ted's knowledge of the business, and he never personally had a problem with him when they were working together. And in Ted's book, Every Man Has a Price, he said that Warrior was one of the guys he said goodbye to when he left the WWF in 1996. So my question is, does Ted have any good memories of spending time around Warrior? It sounds like it wasn't all bad back when they were working together, and the animosity grew in retrospect. I wish they had buried the hatchet.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like when and again, and I've said that I had no use for the guy because he didn't respect the business. It was kind of like, I had all the respect. I mean, to have a body like that takes a lot of discipline.
Yes.
Not, what you eat and how you train and how dedicated you are to it. So I respected that about him. But what angered me is that he came into a business that has been a part of my life for my entire life, and he disrespected the business. He didn't have, it was kind of like wrestling was a means to an end for him. I don't ever remember a time. I don't ever remember saying anything about liking him.
Right.
I did not like him. And that's, I mean, there's, what other, I mean, did I know him personally enough? No, I don't think anybody got to know him personally enough because I don't think he tried to get to know anybody personally enough.
Right.
It was kind of like, I'm telling you, it was a means to an end. And, the only thing he had to do with where I was concerned is if he's in the ring with me and I'm the heel, you're going to do what I tell you when I tell you. And I put, like so many others, I put him over. It was my job. And in that respect, we didn't have a problem because, if he'd have done anything out there, you know what I'm saying? If he just took it on himself, he said, no, we're going to do it this way. I would have said, like hell we are.
Maybe that's what, so, I mean, the quote here that this guy has from that DVD about Warrior is that you said that Warrior respected your knowledge. And maybe that's kind of what we're driving toward here, where it's like, okay, he respected you enough to defer to you whenever you were in the ring with him and say, do exactly what you say when you say to do it out there, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, so this whole thing, it really stuck out because I was like, there is just no way that Ted was like, putting over Warrior in any capacity. So that's interesting.
Well, and again, what fans don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, I'm a huge football fan. I'm a huge professional football professional football fan. So, okay, as a kid growing up, Dick Butkus, number 51, defensive middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears, one of the toughest SOBs ever, and had the reputation of being just I don't think there's anybody that didn't respect Dick Butkus. And I don't know anything about his personal life or his personal history. And I don't know, and it's like, what I'm trying to say is this, it's like, here's this guy who was a phenomenal football player, but in real life, how do I know that he wasn't a jerk?
Right.
Or how would I know if all his teammates thought he was an asshole? And I don't think that's true either. I just, it's just like, all I know is what I saw on the field and what I respected as a kid loving football. You know, Dick Butkus was one of them, and well, there was another one, Ray Nitschke.
Oh yeah,
Ray
Packers.
Nitschke for the Green Bay Packers. Oh my gosh! Wow. Uh,
But you just never know. To your point, it's kind of like separating the art from the artist, where I think that a lot of fans look back on the Warrior and think of him really fondly because they're like, "Oh man, I had this toy of him as a kid, and oh, I remember his promo, and it was fun because I didn't know what he was saying, but it didn't matter because I'm excited because he's excited." Like a lot of people felt that way about the
yeah.
Warrior, and it's like,
Well, and you know, and I can't fault fans for that
right,
because they don't know. They don't know the backside.
yeah,
But but you go ask 20 wrestlers that were in the business with him what they thought of him, and you're going to get the same answer from all of them.
I've asked enough folks over the years to have convinced me that maybe not a great dude. And look, I mean, you are one of the most affable, kind, easy to get along with people I've talked to in wrestling. And I feel like if it's probably not all that easy to piss you off, and he certainly managed to. So it speaks
Well,
volumes.
what the pissed me off part was, just kind of an arrogance, or like a I don't give a shit attitude about. In other words, okay, I respected the fact that here's this guy. Oh my gosh, what a body! And I understand how disciplined he had to be to look that good.
Yeah.
Okay, but that apparently he thought was all he needed, because when he got in that ring, if there wasn't somebody like me on the other side of that ring who could lead him by the nose, he was helpless. It was like, okay, tell me, Marcus, what did you see the Ultimate Warrior do in every single match you ever had?
Oh man, like the shoulder block, shake the ropes, get
Shake
blown
the
up on the way
rope.
to the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's it.
that's about it.
That's it.
Yep.
That was
Um,
his rep, and that's what he could do. And I don't blame any fans for being a fan of the guy, because you're a fan of the character, and he's this wild character, this great bigger than life guy, and 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 uh in his promos, he was for me, it was funny. It's like he talked for 3 minutes, and I'd stretch my head and go, "What did he say?"
it was incoherent,
Yeah,
but, so admittedly, when I'm a kid, it's like, "Hey, this guy's got this crazy hair, and he's super jacked, and he's wearing all these, great colors," and so, when I'm a kid, I'm like, I'm not thinking about his work rate, I'm not thinking about how long the match is. He comes out, and he squashes somebody in, like, 30 seconds and shakes the ropes, and he's excited, and so as a kid, I'm watching him, I'm like, "I'm excited, like, look at this guy, he's crazy,"
yeah,
but, as you get older and start to see, like, a guy like you or a guy like Jake, guys who, like, really knew what they were doing in the ring, he just sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, holy, he's awful. He is an awful wrestler. Like, not good at all.
yeah.
But yeah, it's catching people at the right time in their lives. For me, I'm whatever 5 or 6. So I was like, yeah, I love this guy. But now that I'm an older man, I'm like, ooh, he's awful. He's not a good wrestler.
And I don't know, and I'm not, I can't remember now. When did he die,
He died in 2014.
and what did he die of?
I believe it was heart failure, and it was if you remember, he appeared on Raw. It was like the night after WrestleMania. He came out on Raw and he did a promo, and he was wearing like a plastic warrior mask and like a trench coat, and then he took off the mask and he was very very red faced during this promo. He just didn't look well. He looked like sweaty after cutting a promo. And then here, lo and behold, it's like the next day, I believe he was in the airport, and I want to say it was Phoenix, Arizona, and suffered a heart attack there and died. So I think that he was difficult or pretty hard on his body with all the stuff he was putting into himself to get so big and
Well,
all the training
there
put on
you
him.
go. There's the deal. There, it's kind of like, um, and I don't, I can't remember. I know that they eventually started testing uh, guys for, you know, steroids and stuff, but I don't know if they were doing that at the time that the Warrior was with us. But
They did, and what's funny is, Warrior went away for a little bit, and then I believe he made a return in like '92 or something. So yeah, he had a falling out. I want to say in like late '91, left the company, came back in '92 briefly, and then back in '96 as well, and like very very distinct difference in his physique, where it's like it was very clear that they had made some mandates when it came to steroid use,
yeah,
and like he went from being this giant bulky huge guy to like very muscular still and ripped, but very lean. Same
yeah,
thing happened to Hogan. If you look at Hogan from the '80s versus the '90s, it's like still very muscular guy, great shape, but nowhere near as big as he once was.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the effects of the steroid trial.